Good evening, all of you. I hope this video finds you in the best of health and spirits. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about why we need to phase out religious violence and religious values gradually from society, especially those societies which are culprits. Okay, this is I'm not going to take an outdated and antiquated approach here. This is closely tied to my previous work. At the end of this video, you'll be able to understand why this video is intrinsically tied to my earlier work. Okay. Now I have already spoken to you about what religion is. I have defined what religion is. Read my book on religion. And what exactly is religious violence? Religious violence is said to be violence between two warring factions, often violence perpetrated by majorities against minorities. Okay, religious violence encompasses many different forms of violence where religion is either the subject or the object of attacks. Okay, and the religious violence in such a case, what happened is primary motivating factor is religion or the doctrine and the tenets of religion. Okay, and it may be motivated by religious texts, scriptures, doctrines, tenets, and the core principles of any religions, as well as the previous tradition of violence intrinsic to that particular religion. It varies from religion to religion because no two religions are exactly the same. Okay, religious violence is also sometimes sanctioned by religious authority. It is based on traditions of that particular religion, and violence against religious groups, other religious groups, are also perpetrated, and there is also damage of property, etc. Sometimes arson, looting, etc. And it's a very complex phenomenon, and indeed it has been studied by many scholars, though not adequately by sociologists, we believe, and can take on many different forms. Okay, therefore we need to have constructive criticism of religion and see which religion is the chief perpetrator and tie it to the tenets of the religion. This has not been done, unfortunately. Religious violence has been known from ancient times, so Mesopotamians, Greeks, Sumerians, Mesopotamians, etc. Uh, and the historical records compiled by the Muslim historian Maulana Hakim Saeed Abdul Hai attest to religious violence during the Mamluk dynasty under the ruler Kutubuddin Aibak. The first mosque built in Delhi, which is known as Kawat al Islam, was built based on demolished parts of 20 Hindu and Jain temples. Okay. Likewise, Timur's conquest of India also marked the destruction of many temples and looting, arson, violence against Hindus, etc. And in supposedly in the 1190s, this is disputed by some people, but I suppose it is correct. The famous Nalanda University was ransacked and destroyed, pillaged by a group of marauding invaders led by Bakhtiyar Kijli. Okay, and during the Middle Ages, Muslims fought against Zoroastrians, Christians fought against Muslims in the Arab Byzantine Wars. We had the Crusades where the Christians attacked the Muslims, the Reconquista, etc. And in the 16th and 17th century, after the Protestantism emerged, Catholics and Protestants fought bitterly in Europe. Okay, and hundreds of Christians were executed in Japan in the 17th century. And in the 1840s, Mormons were expelled from the US states of Missouri and Illinois. In 1947, there were mob riots. There were during the partition of India. There were riots between Hindu, Muslims, and Sikhs, and millions of people died on either side. Since independence, we had the anti-Sikh riots of 1984, the Gujarat riots of 2002, etc. And there is a person called Ali Sinan, it's not his real name, pseudonym. He has a website called The Religion of Peace, where he criticizes Islam. According to him, between August, he keeps changing the statistics every week. Between August 3rd and August 9, 2024 alone, 6 days, there were 28 attacks by Islamic terrorists. 171 people were killed, 336 people were injured. There was one suicide blast, and 12 countries are involved, very involved. Therefore, science and material progress have alone not led to the ebbing off and the decline of religious violence, because people's ideas still are antiquated, they're very obsolete. Okay, if not, religious conflicts appear to be increasing because there is a cognitive dissonance, we may call, between modernity and traditional Islamic values. I have also spoken in this about conjunct deculturation and haphazard reversion to uh, traditional values. Read about this. All these things don't portend well or augur well for society as a whole. Therefore, we need a multi-pronged strategy. All the papers that I have published can help to a great deal. Now, let us come to the Human Declaration, UN Declaration of Human Rights. The UN Declaration of Human Rights was published on 10th December 1948. It consists of a preamble, 30 articles. However, very few articles mention the term religion. Article 2 states everyone is entitled to rights and freedoms set forth in the declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, religion, practical, other considerations, etc. Article 16 says everyone has to the right to found a family. This is not very important based on regardless of religion. Article 18 is important here. Everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes the freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others and in public and private to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. Article 26 again talks about religion is in passing, but this is not important. Again, we had the UN Declaration of Linguistic Rights, known as the Barcelona Declaration. This was signed by the International Pen Club and several non-government organizations. This was submitted to the UNESCO in 1996 for ratification, but was not validated subsequently, unfortunately. Okay. We also have another declaration stating, which is the declaration of the elimination of all forms of intolerance and discrimination based on religion or belief. This was adopted by the UN on 25th November 81. According to this, Article 1 says everyone shall have the right of freedom to thought, conscience, and religion. This right shall include freedom to have a religion or whatever belief of his choice, and freedom either individually or in community with others and in public or private to manifest his religion or belief in worship, observance, practice, and teaching. Article 4 of this Act says all states shall take effective measures to prevent to eliminate discrimination on the grounds of religion or belief in the recognition, exercise, and enjoyments of human rights and fundamental freedoms in all fields of civic, economic, political, social, and cultural right. Article 7 says the rights and freedoms set forth in the present declaration shall be in accordance with national legislation in such a manner that everyone shall be able to avail himself of such rights or rights practice. However grand and pompous these may sound, these are seldom implemented, and no one, these don't have any teeth actually. We formed an organization called Scholars and Intellectuals in Mankind, and I'm reaching out to a couple of people. We had proposed 10 commandments. Number one, a complete and total separation of religion and state. Number two, developing secular constitutions that grant you all human rights to citizens. Number three, universal education for all groups and both genders, and being up to date with latest pedagogical techniques so that education systems can be brought up to date from time to time. Number four, granting complete religious freedoms, including religion, the freedom to practice, freedom to convert, and freedom to non-religion. Number five, saying no to religious inspired laws and instituting and promulgating secular laws. Number six, taking steps to promote a scientific temper and spirit of inquiry in society by allowing meaningful and productive debate and improving education systems. Number seven, phasing out religious education and teaching human values instead progressively. Number eight, allowing free media. There must be absolutely no censorship of internet and media. Number nine, allowing complete freedom of speech and free and open discussion of religion and permitting constructive criticism of religion in various platforms such as the media and in universities. Number 10, moving all nations towards democracy and democratically elected governments in due course. This is not a quixotic wish list or some utopian paradise. We must gradually fight to bring them into fruition. Okay. Religions can be practiced. Number one, religions can be practiced but must not curtail freedoms of other practitioners. Religions can be practiced but must not impinge on human rights, human freedoms, and international laws. Religious laws must not impinge on human freedom, they must not impinge on human rights, and they must not impinge on international laws. Religious laws must eventually be safeguarded by secular laws. These are some of the canons of our approach. Here, unfortunately, Muslim countries are the worst culprits. Even though I have nothing against Muslims, in general, some of them have been my best friends. Here, international collaboration is must. We have past 15 years. We have an apostasy movement in Islam, but at an individual level, this will not work. We must collaborate with Islamic reformers, agnostics, apostates, and with Islamic governments of Islamic countries as well. Coercion and sanction may be necessary in some cases wherever absolutely necessary. Left-leaning individuals have done nothing for all this. We actually had Islamo-leftism. Google searches a lot of information about this, which is an unhealthy alliance between Islamists and leftists because leftists feel that there is no caste system in Islam. Islam is anti-West. Islam is pro-revolutionary. Islam already has class struggle. Marxists therefore have limited perspectives. They are obsolete, and if anything, Marxist approaches are an extreme threat to society. Mainstream Western thought also has very little offer to here or little to offer here. Western thought does not acknowledge personal, social, cultural, political, and economic functions of religion. It does not acknowledge the role played by religion in shaping identity. We have written about this extensively. The only other religion, alternative religion, according to them, is dogmatic, hard-nosed atheism, which may not work in majority of cases. These people also have a reductionist binary view and is unworkable. Okay, and this we believe must become one of the biggest movements in the 21st century. We must put pressure on countries to change with the times based on the list of 10 points that I have provided. Apostasy from Islam already has become a big movement from 2007. However, we have also seen the reaction of or rise of unfortunate ideologies such as Hindutva. Okay, we are willing to collaborate with anyone else who is willing to take up the mantle here. Okay, we can impose sanctions also. For example, we had sanctions being imposed on countries such as South Africa for apartheid, etc. Many countries individually impose sanctions by banning import of goods from South Africa. On 6 November 1962, the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution known as 1761 condemning South African apartheid policies and calling for the imposition of economic and other sanctions. Okay. Similarly, on 7th August 1963, the United Nations Security Council passed Resolution 181 calling for a voluntary arms embargo against South Africa. These were all successful because South Africa in apartheid in South Africa is now a distant memory. We can also bring about a change likewise in Muslim countries. All these approaches can help. We must collaborate together and we need a new generation of thought leaders and intellectuals and change makers to emerge. Thank you very much again.